The Yerima effect. How a naval officer's stillness destroyed Wike's political weapons, collapsed his judicial shield and taught a young democracy to stop fearing strong men, by Professor John Ebiazon Oshodi, this man that used to come with story. Every democracy reaches the moment when a political mythology dies in real time. In Nigeria, that moment came out the day a son Wike shouted, "Get out from here," at a junior naval officer who did not move. The officer did not argue, did not tremble, did not raise his voice. He stood, repeated his mandate, and calmly watched the minister walk away. Most Nigerians did not immediately realize what they were seeing. They were watching the psychological end of a political empire. Not because the officer fought back, but because he refused the emotional language of fear that Wike had used successfully for more than a decade. Yes, that's his weapon of warfare. From that moment onward, every one of Wike's carefully constructed power systems began to collapse. Not loudly, but silently, like his stage set being dismantled, while the audience continues watching the actor. This is the story of how power built on intimidation, judicial manipulation, and institutional fear finally collapsed under calm institutional refusal. And why it marks a turning point in Nigeria's long struggle to become a nation of institutions rather than personalities. Wike did not fall because he made a legal mistake. He fell because the psychological formula that had always worked for him, volume plus anger plus confidence equals obedience, it suddenly failed. For years, Wike weaponized rage. He shouted orders at police commissioners. He berated judges. He insulted party elders. He turned intimidation into a language of political survival. The country rewarded him with fear. Then came Lieutenant A.M. Yerima. The confrontation lasted minutes, but the symbolism will endure for decades. Wike shouted. Yerima remained calm. Wike gestured aggressively. Yerima remained still. Wike commanded him to leave. Yerima repeated the law. It was the first time Nigerians saw a uniformed subordinate emerge as the moral center of a confrontation, while the minister became the emotional aggressor. But the most critical moment in that entire scene was not the verbal exchange. It was what happened behind Wike. The police officers quietly stepped backward. They did not reinforce him. They did not intimidate the officer. They did not echo the minister's rage. That retreat was not physical, it was institutional. Politically, it meant we no longer want to be tied to your behavior. We no longer fear the consequences of refusing you. We are now protecting ourselves, not you. That step backward was the moment Wike's system began to die. Most strong men are not destroyed by their enemies. They are abandoned by their protectors. The president remained silent. That silence was institutional language. Protection withdrawn. Wike waited for a signal of support. Nothing came. The Ministry of Defense publicly defended the officer, not Wike. They stated clearly that Yerima acted within lawful authority. That was a declaration that the minister's anger has no legal force against the constitutionally defined chain of command. Then two former chief of defense staff intervened and demanded a public apology. Now reframed the incident as an institutional offense, not a disagreement. Most telling was the behavior of the police hierarchy. No supporting statement, no justification, no attempt to manage public perceptions. For the first time, the police did not move to protect a politician who had humiliated them many times in the past. They simply walked away emotionally. This was the state's most powerful method of accountability. No violence, not impeachment, simply the total withdrawal of institutional fear. Once the system stops fearing a man, no performance of power can sustain him. For more than a decade, Wike's most effective weapon was not his loudness. It was his access to strategic judges, yes. He mastered the judicial culture of influence better than any of his contemporaries. He built judiciary complexes, funded residencies, sponsored judicial retreats, and cultivated the cycle of judges who could produce strategic injunctions on command. For years, whenever the PDP tried to discipline him, an Abuja court suddenly discovered constitutional merit in his application. Whenever a convention threatened his influence, an injunction appeared overnight. Even when Supreme Court ruling repeatedly declared that courts must not interfere in internal party issues, certain Abuja judges continue doing exactly that, always wrapped in legal language. That reliable judicial shade failed the moment Yerima stood still. After the confrontation, Wike rushed again to obtain an injunction blocking the PDP convention. He got it, as usual. What he did not get was compliance. The party immediately secured a counter order from Ibadan. The convention proceeded, delegates voted, and he was expelled. No judge rushed to enforce his order. No late-night ruling arrived to rescue him. No federal enforcement machinery appeared. The judges who once protected him simply did nothing. They discovered the painful truth of judicial patronage. A judge may act for you when you are strong, but a judge will not fall with you when you are weak. That is how judicial controls end, not with defiance, but with abandonment. Wike was never feared because of ideology. He was feared because he could punish. He could weaponize Rivers State influence. He could fund legal battles. He could store conventions indefinitely. But once Yerima broke the psychological spell, that fear dissolved. I'm telling you, it was Yerima that gave those people mind to do what they are doing now. Delegates saw that the military no longer feared him. The police no longer reinforced him. The judiciary did not rescue him. The president did not protect him. In that window of psychological vulnerability, the PDP struck. I'm telling you, they came at the right time. They expelled him swiftly, clinically, and without apology. It took only one vote to do what 7 years of internal crisis could not. Because power based on fear does not require convincing people that you are wrong. It only requires them believing you can no longer host them, yes. Wike now stands politically alone. He is not PDP. He is not APC. He no longer controls Rivers State as a bargaining chip. He cannot frighten the judiciary. He cannot command security reaction. He possesses only one thing, a ministerial appointment that now exists at the mercy of the president. That is not power. It is suspended survival. His political life is now one misstep away from termination. I'm telling you, one more wrongdoing. They are going to remove Wike from even APC that he is. If he produces another Yerima movement, another public confrontation, another attempt to weaponize the court, the administration will let him fall. For years, Nigeria believed that angry men could rule simply by shouting louder than the rules that bind together. The Yerima movement proved something historic. One calm officer can defeat the performance of power, one refusal can collapse an illusion, and one institutional silence can finish a strong man. This is how democracy is mature, not by dramatic overthrow, but by coordinated refusal. Yes, so the people grow wiser when they see a powerful man walk away and the ground beneath them does not shake. The Yerima effect will be remembered not as the humiliation of one politician, but as the day Nigeria proved that calm, lawful resistance can defeat loud, manipulative power. One officer stood still, the minister walked away, no institution collapsed, and a young democracy quietly, calmly took his next step towards adulthood. So that's a very good read. My listeners, don't forget to like, to share, subscribe. Thank you for listening. See you some other time. Bye.